House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 2 opens with chaos. The King's Guard runs through the streets searching for the murderers. Aegon smashes that kick-ass model Viserys spent his whole life building while shouting, "I declare war." Aemon snoops around and finds the open passageway leading to his chambers. Alicent worries about her daughter, but Otto, the clever marketer, sees this as an opportunity to draw more aid to their cause. Moments later, Aegon holds an awkward council, tossing his rage at anyone in sight. Luckily, Larys arrives with good news. "We found a guy and are 99.9% certain he's the killer unless, by some coincidence, he was one of two men carrying a child's head in a sack." "I trust in the mastery of your trade, Lord Larys," Otto says, which translates to, "You're free to enact Reservoir Dogs protocol and torture the bastard until you get the information you need. My Steelers wheel cassette is upstairs." Like Demon, Aegon is ready to throw down. Hilariously, everyone disregards his tantrum, calm and collected. Otto delights in turning lemons into lemonade and suggests holding a sad funeral for the dead prince, hoping to use the sight of the child to turn the tide of the conflict. "Jaehaerys will do more for us now than 1,000 knights in battle," Otto says. Disregarding his king's apparent despair, Alicent knows her father speaks the truth, but even she appears reluctant to cross this line. Am I wrong to think Otto is the most interesting character on this show? He's the most adept at playing the game, and the only one looking at the bigger picture. His moves occasionally cause a stir, but he's more reactionary than proactive, opting to play the hand he's been dealt instead of making unnecessary moves. Otto understands that peace between the blacks and the greens is impossible. The logical move is to gain as much support as possible to prepare for the coming war. Fight now, weep later. We cut to the residents of King's Landing, once again, gathering to watch their overlords deal with personal issues. "Gee, I hope a dragon doesn't leap out and kill half our population again," someone says. The funeral procession goes as planned. Everyone weeps for the poor queens. Meanwhile, Larys prepares to torture his captive. He flips over a cloth, displaying a collection of barbaric tools. For the first time in TV film history, a prisoner spills his guts before his torture. "It was Demon," he says, "and a rat catcher." Aegon arrives and beats the shit out of him. Back at Dragonstone, Rhaenyra hears the bad news and quickly deduces Demon is behind the attack. The power couple go at it, unleashing gallons of pent-up aggression and finally saying what they've wanted to say, and it goes like this. Rhaenyra rightfully thinks Demon is selfish. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. He's the type of wild card you'd want to have during battle. Unfortunately, no one knows what to do with him between the scuffles, and that's when he gets into trouble. Like Corals, Demon seeks the throne more to vindicate himself than his wife. I assume he comes around at a certain point, but he's got some personal baggage to unload. Wisely, he performs House of the Dragon's version of sleeping on the couch and flies away on his massive beast. Another quick note. This season lacks a moral center. Viserys had flaws, but overall, he was a good man trying to keep his family together. Now, we're stuck with Rhaenyra, Alicent, Demon, Otto, and their bratty children. Rhaenyra and Alicent are victims of circumstance, but they also made questionable choices that stirred the pot. The moral of the story, kids, is that if you're going to cheat on your husband and have more children, make sure you pick a man who looks like your husband. Back at King's Landing, Esser Kristen continues his descent into utter darkness. I think he's the only man in history who slept with someone he shouldn't have and was mad when she didn't call back. I get sacred oaths and whatnot, but come on, man. He evidently watches the Acolyte because he concocts a plan to send Eric, the Green Twin, to kill Rhaenyra disguised as his brother Eric, the Black Twin. At first, Green Twin is like, "Nah, it's against my programming." But then he's like, it's so dumb it might just work." There's also the prospect of triumph and glory. Plus, I'm pretty sure Cole would kill him if he said no. At a brothel, Aemon whines to a prostitute who reminds him that the kingdom's squabbles always impact small folk. Then we randomly jump to Hugh Hammer, the Thor-looking dude who approached Aegon and asked for more money for the blacksmiths in the last episode. Then we spend more time with Alan, the sailor who saved Corley's life. We also meet his brother Adam. Later, we see 10 men hanging along the city streets and learn they are, or were, all rat catchers slaughtered by King Aegon. A mother weeps at the sight of her son. I don't know where any of these subplots are going, but they do show how this conflict affects the ordinary citizens of King's Landing. Are we seeing the formation of a rebellion? Rhaenyra meets with the White Worm, the show's silliest character. After quite a bit of back and forth, Rhaenyra frees her, though I suspect she'll return and serve an essential function alongside the Queen in future episodes. Later, Otto loses his cool over Aegon's murder of the Ratcatchers. With your child's blood, we bought their approval. With your mother's tears, we made a bitter sacrifice. Otto says, and I'm not sure if he's talking about us, the viewers, or the citizens of King's Landing. At the start of the episode, I found my sympathies leaning toward Aegon. Now I'm back with Rhaenyra. Yes, I'm a sheep. I'm part of the problem. Aegon hates everything Otto stands for. At least I did something, he says. I will not be thought weak. I wish to spill blood, not ink. I wish to act. Esser Kristen Cole has acted. Otto's reaction is hilarious. And what has Esser Kristen Cole done, he says, dreading the answer. He has sent Esser Eric to slay Rhaenyra. Okay, so Eric is the green twin. Got it. It's time the bitch queen pays a price, Kristen says. Fella, you gotta move on. At this point, he's literally just Cole. Otto lays in harder, losing his nerve with each passing second. He calms down long enough to mourn Viserys. Remember when our biggest worry was whether or not the king would lose a finger or two on Saturday? Aegon tires of Otto's insolence and relieves him of his command. I love Rhys Ifans' acting when he hears Aegon say, "Remove your badge." He knows he went too far and understands the ramifications of his outburst, not just on a personal level but for the kingdom. Without Otto, Aegon is free to follow his emotions. Now is an excellent time to sell your King's Landing property. Even worse, he appoints Kristen Cole as his new hand. Damn it. Folks, here's a prime example of someone literally sleeping their way to the top. Has Cole ever done anything meaningful or worthwhile, aside from the Queen, Ao, that deems him worthy of this position? The Iron Throne now consists of a pissed-off king mourning the loss of his son, a hand mourning the loss of his virtue, and a pair of queens mourning the loss of their minds. Times are a-chongin', kids. For the second time in as many seasons, Otto loses his job. And for the second time in as many episodes, we get an assassination attempt. This time, Eric sneaks around Dragonstone searching for Rhaenyra. He enters her room and draws his sword, but his brother arrives in time to prevent the attack. The two brothers fight, offering another example of how this silly conflict impacts the lives of good people. Eventually, their rage fest concludes with Eric dead. For a moment, I think the evil twin pulled a switch arrow and expected him to charge Rhaenyra. Instead, Eric does the one thing I don't expect, and falls on his sword after pronouncing his failure. I mean, he did save the queen. Did he not do his duty? On the plus side, he and his brother will quickly learn whose team was more virtuous. Back at King's Landing, Otto again bids farewell to his daughter, who instructs him to go to Highgarden to meet with the Tyrells. The young are peacocks, all shrieking in feathers, he says, but we will yet prevail and bring forth peace, I still believe it. I have sinned, Alicent suddenly blurts out. I do not wish to hear of it, he says. Thanks, Dad. She heads out to speak, or probably yell at Aegon, and finds the poor guy crying. I'm conflicted. I kinda like Aegon, but then I also think he's a little nuts. It could be worse. Amerty Joffrey fans? Anyways, Alicent leaves without saying a word, thanks Mom, and hooks up with Kristen Cole. Good lord, these people are hornier than the cast of Euphoria. And that's it. That's the end of House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 2. Thanks for watching.